lost in the heart of the Peruvian Amazon, there is a vine that is said to talk to humans, giving an understanding of the secrets of life. The custodians of this plant are the medicine men or shamans, for the vine does not give up its secrets easily.
I
don't know if I have the strength for this path.
The great 19th century palm house in the Royal Botanical Gardens at Kew is a mecca for anyone interested in tropical plants. Piers Gibbon is an actor and voiceover artist who's also a keen amateur ethnobotanist. He's already collected one plant for the Royal Botanical Gardens, although he didn't have to go far to find this one.
This is my baby. This is Salvia divinorum. It's a shamanic plant. It's used in Mexico. And I didn't have to go to Mexico to get it, however. It's a bit of a cheat because I found it growing very badly in a scientist's house in Hampstead Heath. I haven't really earned the right to have my name on a plant label yet. But what I'd love to do is actually bring back one of the plants that Kew doesn't have and put it in Kew and have my name on the label saying, this is where I found it, this is what it does.
The collection of living plants for study in the laboratory is an accepted tenet of Western botany. But Piers is no ordinary plant collector.
What I'm interested in is a little backwater, which are the plants that speak to us, the plants that tell us what they're good for, the plants that actually have something to say directly to the person taking them.
Have you ever had plants speak to you?
I think so. I think I've had plants speaking to me, but I don't know the language. He's called Alan.
Hi.
You're Alan?
Alan. Pierce.
Yeah. How do you do? Thank you.
This is my dog.
Fantastic.
Actually, she doesn't bark. She only whistles.
American facilitator Alan Shoemaker has been introducing tourists to the delights of ayahuasca for the past 9 years.
Modern medicine. And it's really all about purge every way you possibly can.
Really?
Getting phlegm out of your system.
Okay.
We cook all day. In the evening, we have the ceremony. We give you the medicine. Sit back, and it takes about anywhere from 20 minutes to 45 minutes before you start to feel the effects. And what you want to do is relax and get your ego out of the way as quickly as possible.
In practical terms, I never quite understand how to let go of an ego. How would you explain that?
Well, if you have a medicine that's strong enough, I think it won't make any difference. Your ego will get out of the way. In the morning, you get up, we take our clothes off, I'll blow an astringent on you, and then we use stinging nettles all over your body.
All right.
That, again, is purge again. So you build up toxins between the top 2 layers of your skin. So it'll puncture you in a million different places.
Oh, great.
So you're purging toxins.
I didn't know about the getting naked and beating with nettle thing. That's a new one on me.
Well, you don't have to do it. You could watch if you want to. Actually, you can do me if you'd like.
Oh, great.
In his capacity as facilitator, Alan regularly takes groups of gringos into the jungle to take ayahuasca. It's not far into the jungle, just half an hour upriver from Iquitos.
I'm really looking forward to it. I'm excited, actually. I give myself permission not to be frightened.
So we'll do the ceremony here in the center. That'll work good. And use the outside perimeter to set up your sleeping area.
Alan whistles a sacred song, or icaro, whilst pulverizing the ayahuasca vine for tonight's brew. But unfortunately for Piers, he only uses dried chacruna leaves, so the plant collecting will have to wait.
So these contain the DMT?
Yeah. If you drink a glass of tea from the leaves without using vine, you would feel no effects. So you have to combine it with the chemical that's in the ayahuasca vine.
And you need both?
Yeah, you have to have both.
Okay.
I began my studies in Timbuktu with a doctor from Vienna, Dr. Valentin Hampis. I drank with him and projectile vomited over and over again. And when I finished, I could see lights around me. I raised up, and there weren't people around me at all. But in all the plants around me, there were spirits in the plants. And the smaller plants were children, and then the 2 directly in front of me were like this king and queen, incredible, and they were all glowing from the inside out.
It's not a real hardcore, in the middle of the jungle experience. This is jungle suburbia. We're only on the outside, 30 minutes away from Iquitos. But in terms of my first ayahuasca experience of the trip, I think it's an excellent way in. don't deal with what's been brought up, that could be scary.
Still searching for the chacruna bush for Q and unsatisfied by his suburban ayahuasca experiences in Iquitos, Piers has teamed up with wilderness guide Richard Fowler, who learned his jungle skills with the 101st Airborne Division in Vietnam. They're 3 days by boat from Iquitos and heading for a remote tribe of Matses Indians and the authentic ayahuasca tradition.
I've been in Iquitos now for quite a while, and I've spoken to the shamans that are connected with the city, and for me it's not working.
You cannot fly down here from your office in New York or England and get off the plane and go to somebody's house and do ayahuasca and have a natural spiritual connection with nature. It's not going to happen. You've got to come and get the rest of the medicine. The rest of the medicine is here. The heat, the jungle, the green, the insects, the plants, the rain, the journey.
Richard is absolutely crucial. He's an expert in surviving and thriving in the jungle. He's my passport to get deeper into the mystery.
At the Matses village, Richard and Piers are meeting an American linguist who spent much of the past 6 years living here.
Well, let's go see if we can find Dave.
David Fleck has gone native.
Amigo.
How's it going?
This is Piers.
Good to meet you.
David Fleck,
Great.
the resident anthropologist.
Very, very resident.
Very nice house.
Later that night, they meet up with the village headman, Antonio.
When they hear your name, Pierce, it sounds like their word for tortoise, which is push. And they consider like the tortoise is sort of the dumbest animal.
Great.
In the midst, it's the dumb animal that always gets lost.
That's me. That's me. That's why I'm here. That is exactly why I'm here. I need to know how not to get lost in the jungle and how not to get lost under the influence of mapacho and ayahuasca.
Piers quizzes the chief about his tribe's use of forest medicines.
So what he's saying is that they don't drink ayahuasca here. What they do have is the sapo. We say sapo, right? Their word for it is acate. Acate is the Matses word for it. It's frog poison where you have somebody burn you, right? Here, 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 or here.
I was disappointed when I heard absolutely no ayahuasca here. But they've got something else that's actually more unknown and more secret. And this is the first time I've come across people using poison from a toad to contact the spirit world, to get in there, get some useful information for themselves and for the community. It's an extraordinary opportunity.
The frog poison is only taken on hunting expeditions. The next day, Piers and... In the morning, it's time to extract the toxin from the frog.
I'm Kermit the Frog.
They just hassle it a little bit, and then after they remove its toxin, they'll release it again, which is very unusual for Matses, because usually they don't think twice about killing a frog or snake. Going into the jungle is a dangerous business, and so in some sense, if you're willing to put yourself through some pain voluntarily, when you go into the forest, it seems something familiar and something not so bad. And besides that, they do believe that it makes you less lazy, more willing to go into your jungle and hunt rather than lay in your hammock.
That's the good stuff.
I don't like torturing a frog. It looks pretty annoyed as well. I think I would be if I was stretched out having a stick up my bottom.
That will be the next test for you.
I'm doing it because I want to find out what happens. You know, quite simply, they say, well, if you're having bad luck as a hunter, you should take more sapo. And that really made me think about, well, you know, if I want to get better at being myself and feel stronger, wiser, chunkier, then that's also what I'm hoping for from supper. I woke up in the middle of the night feeling really rough, and for a while there my body was giving me a really good excuse not to do supper. But to my horror, I woke up feeling great.
To get the frog poison into the bloodstream, the Matses first burn through the barrier of the skin with a smouldering stick. The more burns, the stronger the dose. Piers and Richard opt for 8, and the rest of the tribe have only 2 more.
It's all a bit macho, David.
Sure, it's a bit macho. But what can you do? It's sort of a macho culture.
The dried poison is mixed with the saliva of the tribe's best hunter, and then smeared onto the open burns. The effects are fairly instantaneous.
Oh, you can tell it's a poison. Oh, my heart is starting to beat. Doof, 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 doof. All of the things I'm coming across seem to be a lot about purging, a lot about vomiting. Take something in, heave it out again, and it seems to be something to do with heaving out not just the poison that you've taken, but also getting rid of bad energies, generally cleansing your system to make you stronger.
the next step in his search for the chacruna and its meaning, Piers has left the Matses and their frog poison 300 miles to the northeast and is heading for a rendezvous with Françoise Barbera Friedman, a Cambridge anthropologist and ayahuasca expert. David Fleck is hitching a lift on his way home to Texas.
It's time to get back on track to find out more about ayahuasca. Françoise, the anthropologist from Cambridge, says this is the heart of ayahuasca country. This is where they know most about it, and she believes it's where it started. So that's where I'm headed.
We got us a homemade raft, and we're shooting the rapids. We don't need none of them fancy blow-up tourist rafts. Just kind of like Huckleberry Finn.
If it was just going out to collect plants, that would be exhausting in itself, but you have to actually engage with it on a real level of actually putting yourself on the line and saying, okay, I'm the experiment. It does feel like quite an odyssey, quite a up against it expedition.
Piers is meeting Françoise at the tambo of shaman Don Guillermo.
Don Guillermo's been taking ayahuasca for 48 years. He's a healer shaman. He's what's called a palero, which is a specialist in bark medicine.
As soon as they arrive, Don Guillermo diagnoses Piers by reading his pulses.
His brain is weak and his body is a bit weak too.
My brain is weak and my body is weak.
Yeah.
Muchas gracias.
Françoise wants Piers to experience Don Guillermo's healing ayahuasca brew before taking him on to meet a more extreme shaman who has the reputation of a brujo, or sorcerer.
Yeah. So he says that I don't have any witchcraft on me. I mainly need sort of a cleansing out of my body. And he's going to treat that with ayahuasca tonight.
To cleanse both Piers and David, Don Guillermo spends the afternoon cooking up a fresh batch of ayahuasca, tailoring it to their needs with 9 different plants and barks. Françoise has seen a lot of brews. Like Piers, she believes that only experience leads to full understanding, and she's been taking ayahuasca for 25 years.
I cannot disbelieve that the plants talk to me, because they do talk to me, and they talk to me in ways that make sense in my own life as well, and have helped me to resolve some quite difficult issues in my life.
It was very strange hearing Don Guillermo's diagnosis of David. I couldn't help myself hoping that he'd be weaker in the head and weaker in the body, but I suppose that was unlikely. The guy lives out in the jungle. His strange little spike of jealousy there. Was it worth it? Yes, because I allowed myself to believe in it go with everything. And I was rewarded with wood spirits. And at one point I was running naked through the forest, and I came across those wood spirits, the same ones, and they attacked me and tore me limb from limb.
Fairly mild. I think unless Piers has a very intense ayahuasca session that really shakes him up, he's just going to go through and have a mediocre experience and then go back to England and act like it was a very profound experience.
Next morning, Francoise and Piers set off on the 7-hour trek to Don Demetrio, the sorcerer shaman who she believes will truly open Piers' mind. David is returning to the relative sanity of Texas.
When you take very strong brew, that makes you lose touch with your ego. For me, it was a liberation. If I had had only Don Guillermo's brew, I think I would never have experienced that.
Unlike gentle Don Guillermo, Don Demetrio uses every trick in the book during his ayahuasca sessions. Blindfolded, he uses the ayahuasca to see into Piers' body and mind, and then summons up his spirit helpers to give Piers his visions.
Flores, perfumes, guacamayos, osos, leones, boas, las visiones, en película, les va mirando, les va conociendo a ustedes hombres fuertes, quienes han sacado la medicina andina en la selva.
After 2 nights of this treatment, the plants finally talk to Piers. He receives his own Icaro from the jungle.
In this sweaty head, there is a tune of mine that came to me tonight, and I played it for the first time. And he commanded me to play the arco. And I was sitting there with my head in my hands, unable to move. And he said, play, Pedro, play. And I played my instrument, and the tune rang out, and the birds started singing back.
This is acting. This is not him. The feelings were real. I could hear his sobbing in his back, but then that's what he makes out of it. That makes me angry. I just can't relate to this guy at all.
Este Pedrito ha sido un hijo bien mimado de padre y madre, porque él doctora...
Don Demetrio sees Piers as what you could, in a word, describe as a spoiled brat, as a boy who's had everything from the cradle, and then he's grown up and he didn't have something to fight for, and that has been a deprivation that Piers is paying the price for now. So now he's looking for his challenge, he's looking for what makes life worth living.
Despite Francois' misgivings, Don Demetrio thinks Piers can be helped. He just needs to be pushed a little harder.
During the time spent under the influence of ayahuasca, all of the rest of these experiences have made me realize that the reason I came here was to get healed. And I didn't even know I was sick.
Don Demetrio has prescribed 3 days of solitude and ayahuasca in a shelter an hour away.
Tu purga esta noche.
So this is where you're going to hopefully catch your own vision on your own in the forest.
Okay.
So I take ayahuasca, and then as soon as I've drunk it, you go?
Yes. The night is going to fall, and then it's between you and the forest.
Right.
And you don't think you're going to cack your pants in the forest on your own?
I might well be very scared tonight.
Just enjoy it. Enjoy the whole thing. It's to be enjoyed.
Okay. All right.
kuri muy kaina ini.
Adentro. Abre la boca. Doctora, pasate el humo.
Why do I feel so strong now? Why don't I feel sick? I do not understand this. I have drunk a cupful of ayahuasca. I should be feeling vile. Maybe I've crossed some line of belief. Maybe spending so many nights alone in the forest, so many nights drinking ayahuasca, that no matter how scientific and objective I think I am during the daytime, I've completely lost the plot. Or maybe I've just found it.
Don't forget, Piers Gibbon will be chatting about his jungle experience in a few minutes at channel4.com/talk.